Welcome back to the channel. Every single day, thousands of Americans make a single permanent mistake that quietly costs them upwards of $100,000. And the worst part is, they don't even realize it until it's completely too late. You've paid into the system with every single paycheck of your working life. Every time you looked at a pay stub and saw that FICA tax deduction, you were investing in a promise. And now, as retirement approaches, you have a single window of time to make a high-stakes choice. When should you actually start taking Social Security? If you search online, browse financial forums, or ask your friends, you'll hear two completely opposing pieces of advice. Group A will tell you to take it at 62, get your money out of the government's hands immediately before the system goes broke, and enjoy it while you can. Group B, usually financial planners, will look you straight in the eye and tell you that waiting until age 70 is an absolute no-brainer, because it's a guaranteed risk-free 8% annual return. Here is the problem. Both sides are right, and both sides are dangerously wrong. Social Security isn't just a static bank account, it's a living, breathing equation based on your health, taxes, investments, and family history. To truly understand how this system works, we have to start with a baseline. Let's assume you were born in 1960 or later. In the eyes of the government, your full retirement age, or FRA, is exactly 67. For our math today, let's assume that if you wait until 67, your earned benefit is exactly $2,000 a month. This is your 100% mark. Now, let's look at what happens if you decide you've had enough of the daily grind and pull the trigger early at age 62, the very first moment you are legally allowed to claim. The moment you claim at 62, the government permanently slashes your monthly check by 30%. That $2,000 baseline instantly shrinks down to just $1,400 a month. And this reduction is completely permanent. It does not magically reset or go back up when you turn 67 or 70. You are locking in a lower income stream for the rest of your natural life. But a smaller check is only part of the story. There is a massive hidden trap to claiming at age 62 that almost nobody talks about until it's too late, the earnings test. Let's say you take your benefits at 62 because you want a little extra cushion, but you choose to keep working a job. If you earn over the annual limit, which is exactly $24,480, the government penalizes you heavily. They will withhold $1 of your Social Security benefits for every $2 you earn over that limit. It is an immediate, aggressive drag on your hard work. Think about what that actually means for your lifestyle. If you try to transition into a semi-retirement where you work a modest retail or consulting job making $40,000 a year, you are over the limit by more than $15,000. The government will literally claw back over $7,500 of your Social Security checks. You are essentially volunteering to work for a massive tax penalty. So who actually should claim at 62? It really boils down to two critical factors: necessity and health. If you have been laid off or physically cannot continue to perform your job, claiming early gives you cash in hand when you need it most. Survival beats spreadsheets every single time. Additionally, if you have a serious medical condition that gives you a statistically lower life expectancy than average, taking a smaller check for 15 years is mathematically superior to waiting for a larger check you might not live to see. But if we move forward on the timeline to the comfort zone, age 67, you unlock the full 100% of your benefit, bringing that monthly check back up to the full $2,000. The real magic of waiting until 67 isn't just the fact that you avoid the early retirement penalty. The real benefit is the absolute freedom it grants you. The exact month you hit your full retirement age, the dreaded earnings limit completely vanishes. You can make $1 million a year running a company, work a full-time passion project, or consult, and the government cannot touch a single penny of your Social Security check. Furthermore, remember that your benefit is calculated based on your highest 35 years of inflation-adjusted earnings. By staying in the workforce until 67, you might be replacing low-earning years from your early 20s with high-earning peak career years, pushing your baseline check even higher than the initial estimates on your statement. But what happens if you decide to keep waiting? What if you look at that 67 milestone and decide to delay your claim even further? This is where we enter the hypergrowth zone, which runs from age 67 up to age 70. For every single year you delay your claim past your full retirement age, your benefit increases by a massive 8% per year in delayed retirement credits. Let that sink in for a moment. There is no bank account, no treasury bond, and very few Wall Street investments that can give you a guaranteed, risk-free 8% annual return, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. By waiting until the maximum age of 70, your $2,000 baseline check grows by 24%, permanently locking in $2,480 every single month. When you stack age 62 against age 70, the contrast is staggering. By waiting, your monthly check is 77% larger than it would have been if you claimed early. That is an extra $1,080 every single month, year after year. And we cannot forget about inflation. Social Security has a built-in cost of living adjustment, or COLA. An inflation adjustment applied to a larger $2,400 check compounds much faster and protects your actual purchasing power infinitely better over a 20-year retirement than an adjustment applied to a tiny $1,400 check. Delaying to 70 isn't just about getting a bigger number. It is an incredibly powerful insurance policy against inflation in your late 80s. So, if waiting until 70 gives you a check that is 77% larger, why doesn't every single person do it? The answer comes down to a concept called the break-even point. Think about the math from a practical perspective. If you claim your benefits early at age 62, you are getting an 8-year head start on collecting cash. By the time the person who waited until 70 receives their very first check from the government, you have already pocketed over $134,000 in cumulative benefits. While they were waiting, you were cashing checks. Now the person who waited until 70 has a much larger shovel. Their check is bigger, so they will eventually catch up to you. But it takes time to erase a $134,000 head start. If you map these two strategies out on a graph, the lines intersect right around age 80 to 82. That is your break-even window. If you pass away before age 80, the person who claimed early at 62 wins the math game because they walked away with more total dollars from the system. If you live past age 82, the person who waited until 70 wins decisively, collecting vastly more total wealth over the course of their lifetime. If you are sitting there at age 62 in excellent health, with parents and grandparents who lived well into their 90s, the numbers are screaming at you to wait because statistically, you are highly likely to sail right past that break-even point. To take this a step deeper, we need to talk about the psychological hurdle of the break-even point. Human beings are inherently risk-averse. We prefer a bird in the hand over two in the bush. When you look at that massive bucket of money you could collect between 62 and 70, it feels real. It feels guaranteed. Waiting feels like a gamble on your own life expectancy. But here's what the generic calculators leave out. The true financial risk of retirement isn't dying early. If you die early, you are dead, and your financial troubles are over. The true structural risk of retirement is living too long. It is the risk of outliving your money and running completely out of assets when you are 85, 90, or 95 years old, when you no longer have the physical capability to go out and earn a paycheck. That is why framing Social Security purely as an investment with a break-even point is fundamentally flawed. Social Security is not an investment portfolio, it is longevity insurance. It is a guaranteed income stream that is legally mandated to pay you until the day you take your very last breath. If you look at it as insurance against living a long life, maximizing that guaranteed monthly number becomes the ultimate safety net. Now let's address the elephant in the room that causes millions of people to claim early out of pure fear: the looming bankruptcy of the Social Security system. If you turn on the news, you will see terrifying headlines stating that the Social Security trust funds are on track to run dry within the next decade. Because of this, many workers believe that if they don't grab their cash right now, the money will disappear forever. But let's look at how the system actually works behind the scenes. Social Security is fundamentally a pay-as-you-go system. The taxes being collected from current workers today are immediately used to pay out the benefits of current retirees today. The trust fund is simply a reserve cushion. Even if Congress does absolutely nothing and that reserve fund hits zero, the ongoing tax revenue from the workforce would still be sufficient to pay out roughly 80% of promised benefits. But more importantly, think about the political reality. Older Americans are the most reliable, consistent voting demographic in the entire country. No politician from any political party wants to be responsible for a sudden 20% cut to the retirement checks of millions of furious voters. Congress has multiple levers they can pull to fix the shortfall long before the deadline hits. They can raise the cap on wages subject to the Social Security tax. They can slightly adjust the retirement age for younger generations. or they can reallocate funds from the general budget. The system is not going to completely vanish overnight. Claiming early and permanently, slashing your own check by 30% out of panic is a self-inflicted financial wound based on fear rather than reality. This brings us to a critical 3-part decision matrix that you must use to evaluate your personal situation. First, you must look at your personal investment portfolio. Let's say you want to retire at age 62, but you want to delay Social Security until 70 to get that maximum check. That means for 8 long years, you have to live entirely off your personal savings, like your 401k, traditional IRA, or Roth accounts. But drawing down on your stock portfolio too heavily early in retirement destroys its ability to compound, especially if the market experiences a prolonged downturn right as you enter retirement. This is a phenomenon known as sequence of returns risk. If you are forced to sell off your stocks at a loss during a market crash just to pay your grocery bills, your portfolio may never fully recover. In this specific scenario, taking Social Security early at 62 can act as a crucial buffer. It provides a steady baseline of cash, allowing you to leave your private investments alone so they can ride out the market storm and continue to compound. Conversely, if you have a massive cash cushion or a guaranteed pension that can easily cover your living expenses from 62 to 70 without touching your equities, delaying Social Security to maximize that 8% annual growth is the superior wealth-building strategy. Second, you have to look at your spouse. If you are married, your Social Security decision is not an isolated choice, it is a joint strategy. If you are the higher-earning spouse in the marriage, your decision impacts the financial survival of your partner long after you are gone. Under current law, when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse has the right to step into the deceased partner's shoes and inherit their exact monthly benefit amount, assuming it is higher than their own personal benefit. When the first spouse dies, one of the household's 2 Social Security checks instantly disappears. The survivor is left with just a single check, the larger of the 2. If you are the primary breadwinner and you choose to claim early at 62, you are not just permanently shrinking your own retirement check, you are permanently shrinking the ultimate survivor benefit for your husband or wife. If you delay until 70, you are locking in the absolute maximum possible safety net for them. You are ensuring that even if you pass away early, your surviving spouse will receive a maximized inflation-adjusted check for the rest of their life. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of retirement planning, and it makes delaying to 70 an act of profound financial protection for your family. Third, and perhaps most importantly, you have to consider the real-world utility of money. $1 is worth significantly more to you when you have the physical health, mobility, and energy to actually use it. Think about the trajectory of aging. Financial planners often divide retirement into 3 distinct phases: the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. The go-go years typically occupy your 60s. This is when your health is still intact, your energy levels are high, and you have the physical capability to travel the world, hike mountains, build a small business, or actively play with your grandchildren. This is when your money has its highest utility. As you move into your 70s and 80s, you naturally transition into the slow-go and no-go years, where your lifestyle slows down and your spending shifts away from active recreation toward healthcare and stability. If taking a smaller check at 62 or 65 gives you the financial freedom to exit a high-stress job and fully enjoy your go-go years, while your knees and back still work perfectly, that real-world happiness and life quality often vastly outweighs maximizing a financial spreadsheet in your late 80s. You cannot take the money with you, and a mathematically perfect retirement plan that keeps you trapped in a miserable job during your healthiest years is a failure of lifestyle design. To make the ultimate decision, you have to look past the generic advice and run your own numbers. The system is mathematically designed to be actuarially neutral for the average population. The government expects to pay out roughly the same total amount of money over an average American life expectancy, regardless of whether they pay you a lot of small checks starting at 62 or fewer large checks starting at 70. But you are not a statistical average. You are an individual with a unique medical profile, a specific tax situation, and a precise set of life goals. Do not rely on generic rules of thumb, what your coworker did, or what an online forum tells you to do. Log onto the official government website at ssa.gov, download your actual estimated statement, look closely at your health history, analyze your total retirement savings, and build a customized claiming strategy that serves your life, your family, and your long-term peace of mind. Thank you so much for watching today's deep dive. If you got value out of this breakdown, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a wealth building update, and drop a comment down below, letting me know the exact age you are planning to claim your benefits. Your support means the world, and it helps us keep bringing you the honest truth about your money. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the very next video.